We welcome you into coverage of a nationally ranked matchup in men's lacrosse here at Dick's Sporting Goods Field as the Seton Hill University Griffins welcome the University of Indianapolis Greyhounds for a big-time showdown here on the Westmoreland Sports Network. I'm Sean Myers, joined by Kevin Welty, and this is a matchup both teams, I think, circle every single year. They have become familiar foes, and we've seen some great matchups in recent years. Most recently, the Greyhounds have had the better of the Griffins, but you look at two teams in the national rankings, both of them have suffered losses that they would look to bounce back from recently, and so an opportunity today to make a real statement for these teams to kind of set the tone for heading into the second half of this season.
You talk about washing the taste of a loss out of your mouth. The opportunity's here for both teams, and this should be a fantastic matchup.
It is the Griffins clad in the white jerseys, where the Greyhounds are wearing the red jersey. Seton Hill is 3-1 on the season, 1-0 in conference play. This is not a conference matchup. Indianapolis comes in with a 3-3 mark. They have yet to compete in Great Lakes Valley Conference play. They in the GLVC. The Griffins are in the GMAC, the GMAC. Seton Hill, the preseason favorite in the GMAC, whereas Indianapolis preseason polls had them fourth out of the 6 teams. That speaks to how stacked the Great Lakes Valley Conference is, as the Griffins trying to play takeaway, unable to do so, as Matt Pereira comes up with the ground ball, and now he looks to angle. He'll carry behind the net. Seton Hill coming in on the heels of a victory, whereas the Griffins trying to bounce back from a surprising defeat as that shot misses the mark by Pereira. They fell 13 of these and also leads them in assists and shots. So he's been able to provide a lot offensively. Griffins work it behind the cage.
Yeah, one thing about Seton Hill's offense this year is they got a lot of guys that can start the party. Locklear has certainly been on the business end many times, but you can look to number 8, Carter Green, as their initiator.
There's a spinning shot, and it goes. And that is their leading goal scorer, Wade Brunell, who gets number 14 on the campaign, and a great start for Seton Hill, a 1-0 lead.
Wade Brunell getting things rolling with the roll dodge. He came out of that dodge, eyes up, looking to score, put that shot, perfect location, off stick, hip. If you are a young player watching at home, this is where you want to put it. Very hard for goalies to track that and get over, and that's exactly the start Seton Hill's offense.
Mentioned he was the team leader with 13 goals coming in, so number 14 for Brunell, and Seton Hill has possession right back. He was able to outwit A.J. Prechuk, the goalkeeper for the Greyhounds. Seton Hill has Will Cody in net.
So, Sean, we were talking pregame about this matchup at the face-off dot. Mark Strunk had kind of a disappointing outing last year against Indy. Went only 1 for 11, but he's having a strong season, was fantastic against Tampa, and this is the start that he wanted to get off to as well.
And the Griffins, what a start collectively. A second goal, Connor Zostant, and an all-conference honoree a couple years ago, has the Griffins up 2-0, just a blink of an eye in.
2 shots, 2 goals for the Griffins. Zostant, hands-free, have a day. We're getting started here on the right foot for Seton Hill. Love the placement by Zostant, going off stick low, and maybe that's the scout on this goalie. He certainly is a. It's harder for him those lower shots.
6'4" is Prechuk, and so far the Griffins have had his number. What a terrific start for Seton Hill. Brunell and then Connor Zostant, 2 goals in a span of 35 seconds.
So like we were talking, UIndy certainly not a pushover. Let's see how they respond. They've got plenty of guys that can have the mental toughness here to get a goal when they need it, but it's really kind of starting to get that feeling that, you know, they need a response here.
That face-off awarded to the Greyhounds. We'll see if they can counter. They had the opening possession. Griffin stood tall defensively, and then Seton Hill taking advantage with a couple of quickies. Weiler trying to create there.
Good patience by the Seton Hill defense, working the shooter into low angle shots. Goalie's filling up the cage. That's exactly what you want.
Shot clock resetting to 60. Weiler. Laughlin moves it, and then a sharp angle offering.
Oh, watch out if you're a dog.
Yes.
Again, Tristan Schaefer, body momentum away from the cage, low angle. Those are the shots that Seton Hill wants UIndy to take. See if UIndy can get some higher percentage looks here. Plenty of time in the shot clock.
Laughlin. He sees a double, so he peels back.
And
Schaefer, a local product, a Pittsburgh native. And that one hits the outside of the net. They will reset.
looks like Seton Hill won the run out. A good take by Schaefer, hit the post, but Seton Hill with the heads up hustle play wins the possession, and now they're on the clear.
Griffin's already up 2-0. We'll see if they can tack on another here.
At the Division II level, look to clear north of 90%. Anything less than that, it's going to put you in a compromising position.
Coming off of a victory against Lake Erie, Griffins go behind the net with Grudai. There's a save. That's much needed for Prechuk after he allowed a couple of goals. He comes up with a stop. He has twice been the Defensive Player of the Week in his conference already this season, so he's having a good year.
So you know we like to dissect goalies. That's a high shot by Grudai. Not a bad take, a little early in the shot clock, but he's certainly up to the task and makes that save high. He needed that, Sean. I mean, you know, you face your first two shots as a goalie and they go in. That first save feels like it's like a bomb, you know.
Confidence builder, perhaps. Still a long, long way to go in this one. Loss that dropped him in the national rankings, but still a long way to go in that regard. And we know based on recent history, they're going to be in the conversation towards the end of the season. Griffin's hoping to be as well.
You got to really like the way that Seton Hill's defensive footwork is moving.
Ford moves it up top.
Here comes the Schaefer, their shooter.
He wasn't able to pull the trigger, and he's dispossessed. Great job defensively by Charlie Hudson, who is twice a GMAC All-Conference performer, and they just did not allow any space that time for Schaefer to pull the trigger.
Has quite a subtle check there by Hudson, but just enough to disrupt Schaefer as he's trying to hitch there, trying to improve his angle. But again, we talked about angles, Sean. They're really pushing these UIndy shooters down the alley. And let's see if UIndy can make an adjustment.
Griffin's hoping to stay one step ahead. Brunel and Connor Zostant with the goal so far. Seton Hill stake to a 2-0 lead, approaching 8.5 minutes left in the opening quarter of play.
Looks like they're inverting the local product. Connor Green!
For the Griffins.
A lot of defense, putting Carter Green, the former triple option quarterback, behind the net, and he absolutely dusts the UIndy short stick defender. Again, a low shot, Sean, and it goes in. So the Griffins are shooting the scout at this point, and they're shooting very well.
That is goal number 9 on the season for Carter Green, who was a first-team All-Conference performer last year as a sophomore after he garnered second-team accolades going back to his freshman year. What a big contributor he has been throughout his time on the Hill. And if you are Brian Novotny, the decorated veteran coach, 19 years at the helm, he's going to have a chance to get to the gate.
cooking, Sean. Everybody woke up in their bed this morning, had a nice breakfast, didn't have any kind of bus legs or anything like that. And it's showing at this point that Seton Hill has the mental edge right now. I think you said it, though. It's a very long game, and UIndy certainly has a lot of talent. So the mistake by Seton Hill would be to think that it's going to be this easy for the rest of the game.
Well, the Greyhounds, they can score goals in bunches. They have 77 of them through 6 games. They've outscored their opponents 77-52, despite the fact that their record's just 500. The Griffins have more than doubled up the opposition in terms of goal margin. They're outscoring their foes, not including today, 59-24. So two teams that, regardless of what the record is early in the season, they are showing that they are dominant teams by and large, and they both played difficult schedules. For conference, nationally ranked 16th, I believe, at last check. So they're always going to play tough teams, and the Griffins, outside of the GMAC, they always try to schedule very difficult opponents, like University of Indianapolis and Tampa as well. They lost to the University of Tampa 13-8. That is their lone blemish this season. Already up 3-0. Griffins have possession as we are approaching.
By gives the ball to the Griffins, not what you want to do when you're down 3 goals.
Zostant moves it off to the far side.
You can see Seton Hill's running this sweep offense coming across the top.
Work it in front, and what a feed and a finish as Zostant has his second.
The big man on the crease, how do you lose track of him? He was wide open. Great initiation on the sweep by little like Connor Zostant. Going to make you pay more times than not when you let him get his hands free right on the crease. Seton Hill's rolling right now.
Brunel getting the helper, so he's got a goal and an assist, as does Carter Green, who got the helper on the Brunel goal to open the scoring. And Seton Hill has it again.
So again, we talked about a big factor for Seton Hill is what happens at the face-off dot. They got to like the way that their face-off percentage has been going. They got to like the way that their shooting percentage has been going. Sean, I have them 4 for 5 shooting.
Well, that a rare miss. That one goes over the net, but it will stay with the Griffins. Yeah, their shooting percentage on the season is .250, so that's pretty easy to think of, 1 out of every 4.
And Coach Novotny would like for that to be a little bit.
What a save there.
Higher.
Colin Soccer was robbed on the doorstep.
Yeah,
nearly made it 5-0.
You got to bury those opportunities when you get it. But again, Seton Hill, you have to be happy with the quality of the shots that you're getting. We talk about the Indy shooters having a bad angle. Seton Hill's been right in front of the cage with all of these shots.
I think you could maybe argue that was the best chance that the Griffins had. It's the one that didn't go in.
Except for that good kick save. An adjustment on working for them. Seton Hill's kind of had their number, so this is where a coach like Coach Stocks, he's been around long enough that he's not just going to keep trying the same stuff. They'll have different packages that they can put in, different guys they can roll out.
He built this program from the ground up and has built it into a powerhouse. Year number 10 guiding this program. He did the same thing at Lake Erie College. That one slips away, and the Griffins trying to come up with it, and they do.
Oh, battle for the ground ball here. Got to be clean with those defensive ground balls. Seton Hill up and out.
That was Hudson initially, and then he got some help from Aiden Brunetti. Although the Griffins having a hard time maintaining possession here.
Check here. Battle for the ground ball. Always an important battle. Who wants it more?
And the Griffins come out with it with Carter Green.
He's usually on the receiving end of those ground balls. I always remember playing with guys. It seems like no matter what, they were always the one that come out with it. Carter Green has that quality. He has that intangible ability.
It's a skill, but it's also a mentality, right?
It's a mentality, and it's a knack. Kind of like some other things
Just kind of innate
in life.
in
Yeah,
some
you
regards.
just sort of have it or you don't. Darts come to mind.
Griffins working it around. They have 25 on the shot clock. Already up 4-0. Shot from distance, and that one was one that Prechuk was actually able to track and make a save.
Yep, good save, and again, a high shot. So we're starting to see, no goalie's perfect, but he's really starting to find his rhythm on those high shots, seeing the ball the whole way, being able to stare it down, sidearm release.
Well, a good goalie, I would imagine, if they concede from that distance, usually will make the save.
Especially if you're not changing the plane of the ball. One of the things Coach Novotny talks about, CTP, change. I don't remember what my grade in theoretical physics was, but you do have to change that angle of the shot. That's why you see a lot of these shots getting on the turf are very hard for keepers to track.
Charbonneau advances it as the Griffins look to go back to work. Another one and done for the Greyhounds, just really not generating much offensively.
Yeah, they're stymied right now. And you just see the way that Seton Hill is clearing the ball, confidently executing. UIndy's had some chances, but the key for Seton Hill is to keep doing the things that have been working for them, not get greedy and start thinking that anything they do is going to result in a goal.
Back. Seton Hill showing some patience here, taking it down to 25 once again.
Sure, 4-goal lead.
Coleman. Now that shot running down to 15. Start to get to the point where you have to begin the initiation of the offense if you want to get a shot here.
Yeah.
That one never made it through, so starting to see the Greyhounds tighten up a little bit on that end. You have to wonder offensively, though, if there's a lingering issue after they did not score in the fourth quarter.
And UIndy throws it away. They're just
sync.
not the team that they know that they can be right now. So the question is, what needs to change? Is it a mindset shift? I've been on sidelines where everything just sort of starts to slip away from you, and it feels like it's contagious. So UIndy's got to get out of that. They got to shake it off, and I think that first goal would do a lot to help with that, Sean.
Yeah, they had a lead against Montevallo. They were playing at home, and they put up a goose egg in the fourth quarter and lost that game 13-12. So no goals in the fourth quarter of that game, and under 2.5 minutes left in the first here, they have yet to break the ice.
Yeah, and you know what it is? I think a lot of it comes down to guys maybe start thinking about their own individual performances, stop paying attention to key team concepts, little details that make the difference. Because you're thinking about those big picture, high-level, abstract things like, oh, this isn't going our way.
Cody hasn't really been tested much.
No.
The goalie for Seton Hill. That shot did not find the mark for Seton Hill's Nate Herbster, product of Cumberland Valley in Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing UIndy move into a little zone here, so Seton Hill will have a zone offense that they can counter with. Carter Green getting the reset.
That one, I think, hit the foot of Prechuk. We've seen him use his feet a few times.
Yep. And again, a good shot. Carter, he's got a heavy shot. He really brings that thing overhand three-quarter release.
Soccer plays it back to Caden Granberg.
Again, UIndy going to be passing people off in this zone.
Right back. Although he's a Pittsburgh native, Lexington Catholic is the high school listed, and then Anderson. But you said you have a little familiarity with him.
Yeah, I played some summer ball with Tristan. He's quite a shooter. And kind of, if you look at his shooting percentage throughout the year, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster. Some games in the single digits, and then other games he can't miss.
Laughlin gets them on the board with just 13.9 seconds left in the first. Much needed for the Greyhounds.
It just absolutely dissects the Seton Hill defense with that pass. That was a dime. And then the finish, quick stick, getting it out quick, shooting right low on Will Cody and sneaking it by. I think in terms of goals that you would want to score to get off of the goose egg, that one is about as good as you can ask for. Sharing the ball, good offense, good finish. Let's see if they can string two together here.
That one slips away, and that might all but do it.
Pushing the back, I think Seton Hill will be man up here, so they're going to take a shot at the end of the quarter, and they'll start the second quarter man up.
Laughlin's 9th goal of the season has gotten the Greyhounds on the board, but Seton Hill dominates the opening quarter, a 4-1 lead for the Griffins. We'll take a network.
My name is Stephen Walker Jr., and I am a proud Seton Hill alumni. I've had the pleasure and honor of graduating with 2 degrees, one in undergraduate and one in graduate. There's nothing that I learned here at Seton Hill that I don't apply in my daily life and within my career. The curriculum that they have is amazing. It allows you to prepare for the workforce, but more importantly, for life. From the undergraduate perspective, it allowed me to gain the soft skills that I needed for the workforce. And then with getting my MBA, it allowed me to stretch my thinking. I am still very much connected to the university and those that have been impactful in my life, the professors, the organizations. I feel like the network that I've been able to build and maintain from the university continues to have an impact in my life, and that's why I enjoy coming back to the university. But man, I can't.
Play It Again Sports in Greensburg is your locally owned and operated sporting goods store. We set ourselves apart by offering a wide variety of both new and used equipment at competitive prices. Located in the Greengate East Plaza, below Walmart, Play It Again Sports' knowledgeable staff will help you and your family prepare for every athletic season. Whether you're looking to trade, we are here as your one-stop shop. At Play It Again Sports in Greensburg, everybody plays.
First quarter in the books, and Seton Hill staked to a 4-1 lead. Keegan Laughlin's goal, which is 13.9 seconds remaining, has the Greyhounds off the schneid, however. First time that they've scored since the third quarter of the previous game.
And our first look at the Seton Hill extra man offense. This will be a big possession for them. They'll be looking to move the ball quickly. They're confident today, Sean. We've kind of seen them make the routine plays routinely, but then also the shooters have come to shoot today.
Griffins at 37.5% on the man up, and that's going to help that percentage because Brunel wastes little time. It takes just a dozen seconds for Seton Hill to cash in.
Wade Brunel, the sheriff, flashing through the middle, says, "Hit me," and absolutely gets a blackjack there. A drawn-up play that Coach Novotny will have drawn up during that quarter break, and you just got to love it when the players execute the play to that level.
Lockyer picking up the assist, and Brunel having himself a day. That is 2 goals to go with an assist as well.
For the Griffins, 35.
And Seton Hill playing make it, take it.
14:45 in the
Griffins
third.
control the face-off, and they look to add to this lead.
And on the assist,
they had a 4-goal lead. In the first quarter, they're back to a 4-goal margin here early in the second quarter.
And Coach Novotny's rolling out his big guns again. Zostant, Carter Green. He's really wanting to put some distance here because he knows that these games are 4 quarters, so you just take the goals when you can get them. Oh, see if this goes over or if the Seton Hill defenseman can. Oh. That's a play that's pretty difficult. When you see the ball, the defenseman will try to keep it on the offensive side of the field. He was unable to do that.
Well, you mentioned the Griffins want to create separation. I would imagine on the other side, Greg Stocks and crew, they have to make sure that their best players are out there so that this game doesn't already get out of hand for them.
Yeah,
Probably a little bit of a danger zone.
It's conventional wisdom for sure that you want your best players out there down 4 goals, but sometimes it can be, and a nice save by Will Cody. Sometimes it can be those role players, maybe a freshman that you roll out there that you wouldn't because you're looking for that spark. And so Coach Stocks, I mean, he's probably a master of the roster, and he knows which guys to roll out there when, maybe take some gambles because you're already down 4 goals, right?
Quickly. Started the story 5 years, now 10 years with Indianapolis, and it didn't take very long for them to become a very good team.
No, I mean, you can just see it in the culture, bringing in the quality of recruits, and, you know, they're in the national conversation every year.
As that shot sails high. Well, they started their program in 2016. By 2018, they were conference champions in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. They went back-to-back, winning in 2019, and then the 2020 season, of course, was interrupted by COVID, never truly completed. But the next full season, 2021, they won the championship that year as well. So more or less a three-peat. Haven't won one since then, but they've been a...
Riley Gerdai, nice, kind of created his own shot, using his body.
Good save by Prechuk to track that one, and he's really settled in as this game has moved along.
Another nice high save. That's 3 that he has on Gerdai, or maybe 2 saves. But I'd like to see Riley take a couple shots low. He's able to generate his own shot, get his hands free so easily. But high bouncer, not a bad shot.
Lutweiler trying to create some space. Feeds it in, bounces around, and right on the goal line, Cody makes sure it did not cross it.
And that's another risky pass by Will Cody. Him passes up.
Does get it to Hudson.
Seton Hill has numbers. And they wisely choose to play keep away from Indy.
Well, they've seemed, the Griffins that is, way more patient than the Greyhounds have been.
I think it's really about valuing the ball, valuing possession. You see them making some really good decisions with the ball, not pushing, when to push, so that they can get their dangerous guys in a position. Ooh!
That was point blank, but Granberg could not find the mark. Well, it feels as though the Greyhounds, some of their possessions have maybe been 10 or 15 seconds, and that's because they've also misfired on some passes that have led to turnovers, but they're wasting no time in attacking, and it really hasn't paid dividends yet. Granberg, that pays dividends as he rips that one, and Granberg has his 3rd goal of the season. The Griffins are up 6-1.
Granberg, dividends. He is absolutely depositing that one into the bank with a high heat shot. First shot all day that we've seen beat the keeper high, and he didn't even have a chance on that one. It had a vapor trail behind it, and Seton Hill is rolling at this point.
By way of Victoria, British Columbia, Caden Granberg season. Seton Hill up 6-1, although it's the Greyhounds who have possession. We haven't seen that a lot. Seton Hill has usually done a very nice job.
You know, I just am not seeing the fight from Indy. They have not shown the energy required to compete in a matchup of this scale. They just kind of seem pedestrian in the way that they're watching this game slip away from them. So far it's we need somebody else to step up, especially on the offensive end.
Emmett trying to maybe provide that. Now he gives it up. And that's kind of epitomized the day so far for Indianapolis.
Just a kind of lazy exchange where both players need to be moving their feet there, and they just could not exchange there. I mean, it's going to be hard to get back in that game if you can't do those routine things.
Well, you feel as though we're going to see a much better version at some point of the Greyhounds today. It just comes with the question of, is it going to be too little too late if the Griffins continue to create separation?
To be honest, at this point, I think this game's on a knife's edge. And if Seton Hill continues to apply the pressure, it's human psychology. It's going to be hard for UIndy to compete at the level as they keep going down 5 goals, 6 goals, 7 goals. Guys,
one off by Herbster. Well, the adage, a shark smelling blood right now, I think that's what the Griffins are looking to do. And again, it's a high-powered attack for Indianapolis, so you can't write them off. Needed a collision.
Seton Hill getting physical in the paint. Let's see who can clean it up here. UIndy.
That was Herbster who was laying the lumber there.
I mean, these offensive guys take pride in their physicality just as much as the defensive, but big stop by UIndy, especially to come out with that defensive ground ball. And now you feel like you it's really not that far away from him, still so much of the game to play.
Leutwiler trying to use his speed, didn't have the angle, so he gives it up from the X. Now they move it back up top. Better possession so far here for Indianapolis.
Yeah, now this is the kind of level of intensity that we were looking for from the beginning here, the way they're moving the ball, keeping it hot.
Greyhounds trying to find some space. Nemeth. Space hard to come by. He throws it away again. And that was dogged work, I think, by Austin Day.
Hey, no daylight from Austin Day. He was all over his hands and hips there. Just a great defensive individual effort.
Getting up close and personal with our producer, Dan Flickinger, right here.
Got my Elmo sweater on. I think he wanted to feel it.
By the way, shout out to Ricky Pitzer, who stepped up as our videographer today. Ricky, very well known here at Seton Hill. Now the Griffins holding a 6-1 lead. And for them, it feels like maybe goal number 7 really could be a deflator for Indianapolis.
Yeah, this is danger zone for Seton Hill. You start to feel like you can't miss, and then you maybe get outside of yourself. So let's see if they can reel it in and keep doing the things that have helped them build this 5-goal lead.
Carter Green. He's not the only C. Green on the roster anymore, by the way. He's been joined by Colin Green. Both of them were in the starting lineup today, so we got to specify when we talk about the Greens.
And we're in Greensburg as well. We don't want anybody to get confused. So we'll make sure to have that distinction. Another stop by UIndy. They're getting the stops now, Sean, but they just cannot break the Seton Hill defense.
Well, they haven't really even been getting shots on the net recently. It's been bad passes yielding turnovers.
Yeah, and it just feels like Seton Hill has had the time of possession battle won so far in the game. So UIndy will need to have those longer possessions start to tire the Seton Hill defense out.
Seen a lot of Leutwiler, and that time he loses it.
And again, just on a somewhat simple exchange. Seton Hill looking to push here with the numbers. Let's see if they can find.
Oh, there's a long shot, and it is gobbled up as Charbonneau pulled the trigger, but there was really no traffic in front of Krechuk that time.
Yeah, Charbonneau. And UIndy is just being too loose with the ball here. We just talked about time of possession.
Is something like that almost contagious? It certainly looks like it's not just 1 or 2 players making miscues now. It's everyone on the attacking side of things.
Well, what it is you're down 5 goals, so you start to feel like you need to do more. And it's a very, very enticing kind of, put the team on my back, start to do some things. But really what it ends up in is not making progress. And they have the saying, you can only score 1 goal at a time. You can't score 2 goals with 1 shot. I think Novotny maybe wants to talk it over because he feels like this game's going off the rails for Seton Hill.
Well, the Griffins have a 6-1 lead. They're looking to tack on. We'll take a quick break and continue our coverage. Second quarter action, Seton Hill, Indianapolis, right here on WSN.
The pulse of Western Pennsylvania is in very good hands. It's a system of healthcare whose hospitals have earned some of medicine's most prestigious honors, like the top 10% in the country for specialty cardiac care, a heart surgery program ranked in the top 2% nationwide, and such high performing for heart bypass, heart failure, and heart attack. The pulse of Western Pennsylvania is indeed in very good hands at Independence Health System. Expert care here.
D'Annunzio's has been making family favorites for almost 50 years. Of course, we have our classic pizza, pasta, and chicken dishes, but we also have luncheon and dinner specials selected by our kitchen staffs. We welcome you to join us at any of our 3 locations, Jeanette, Monroeville, and Latrobe. We're open 7 days a week. D'Annunzio's is on social media too. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram and visit our website, D'AnnunziosRestaurant.com.
Some moments on the field go beyond the game. They shape who we become. At Home Team Collections, we honor those moments with the care and craftsmanship they deserve. Because these moments aren't just memories, they're a legacy worth preserving. Any team, any sport, any logo. Visit HomeTeamCollections.com today and save $10 off your first order.
Griffins take a timeout, looking to dial something up here to extend the 6-1 lead as we have 5:21 remaining in quarter number 2. Sean Myers, Kevin Welty, former Griffins player, 2012 graduate, so 13 years thereabouts removed. Do you still feel like you can think back to your playing days and kind of relate to what players on both sides of this equation are feeling right now?
In some ways, yes. In other ways, the iPhone wasn't invented when I was playing lacrosse. So, things are the same, things are different. I'm just blown away by the level of execution that they are able to operate at, both teams. You got guys like Braden Locklear that, hasn't really been a big factor in this game, but at any point could really show up and just completely take over the game. So, that level of depth is different.
Oh, there's a bouncing shot.
They're saying no goal. They're saying no goal. Maybe we could talk to Dan Flickinger, our producer.
That was Zostant looking for another, and it looked awfully close.
Oh, and this is a weird, sometimes games turn on weird things like that, Sean. So look to see if Indy can take advantage of a little bit of a luck of the bounce. That looked into me.
Well, the official was right there, said no, and we haven't heard much of an argument from Novotny yet, but
yeah, things like that, it's best to just move on. But game of inches, game of centimeters, millimeters even.
Well, to some extent, if you hold the fort defense and you score on the other end, it's almost a moot point for Seton Hill. That said, to your argument, it could swing the other way.
Yeah, sometimes weird bounces like that.
Newfound
just
life,
what you
maybe.
need. Maybe a can one here. You're just looking for a little ray of sunshine to give the team hope, to get the sideline bouncing again.
It has been all cloudy today for Indianapolis, but they get a goal, and it will count right on the doorstep. Brandon Nemeth as he makes it 6-2.
And that's a high-quality opportunity for UIndy. We've been talking about generating high-quality scoring opportunities. Great feed. Seton Hill looking lost defensively with a guy who is tiptoeing the crease, and he's not even touched. So, again, this is a big possession here for UIndy as they look to string together a couple goals.
You can see how close it is. That is a rare goal for Nemeth, just his second of the season, much needed.
But this right here is what's going to make it quite difficult for the Greyhounds to come back in this game. The dominance that Seton Hill has had at the face-off dot and the quality of their play in between the boxes.
Entering on face. So You don't need a calculator to know that that's
we got
good.
a mental mistake here, Sean. And now UIndy's going to have a possession. If they can keep it. What a play there. Oh, my gosh. Did we
Spin
see
move.
that? Tyler Bernaducci selling out. And this is what I mean. UIndy's starting to feel it a little bit, starting to have that momentum. Seton Hill needs to dig in and get a stop here, or else it's going to be 2 goals in a row by UIndy.
Remember, it was a Griffins timeout. Seton Hill looked like it was awfully close to scoring, and instead it's gone the other way. Second in a row for the visitors, and Matt Pereira gets the Greyhounds their 3rd goal. It's now 6-3.
That's another goal where he's just walking right in the heart of the Seton Hill defense, untouched. Kind of an S dodge is what they call that, where you walk yourself into a better angle, and then he goes twister to beat Will Cody 5-hole. We've got ourselves maybe a game here. Let's see what the next goal is, but Seton Hill starting to see their lead dwindling.
Pereira has his 8th goal of the season.
I still think if you're Seton Hill, you're not really that worried. You've had a couple of defensive lapses to say, and UIndy's in this game now. They're mentally a little bit more relaxed.
They win the face-off too.
Yeah, they're winning that face-off. So we'll see what happens here on this possession. But it's as far as second quarter possessions go, it's about as big as they get.
Ryan Carver gives it up, and they throw it away. We saw a lot of that in the first quarter and early in the second quarter.
And speaking of rays of sunshine here.
It's a rare sight. Now, south in terms of the temperatures.
Yeah,
had some snow yesterday.
This is life in Western PA. I think it's a mental toughness thing, It's being out here in the spring, snow.
Did you embrace it, playing at freezing temperatures?
And
Weirdo, okay.
But I think that it's, again, when you're in those kind of situations in late April, you remember those cold days and you sort of say, hey, we've really worked for this. We've really suffered. And it brings the team closer, I think, as well.
I would imagine the difference when you play a team like, for instance, University of Tampa. Not be looking forward to a day like this, I would imagine.
Routinely probably hitting the beach after practice. Could go to Lake Greensburg if you wanted to.
Yeah. That
outside.
one hits the side of the net. That was just to beat the shot clock as well.
And you start to see the Seton Hill offense maybe not knowing who their next goal is going to come. So Coach Stocks maybe wants to talk it over. So Seton Hill's offense so decisive, it looked like any shot they took was going to be a goal, and now we don't know who the next goal is going to come from. So this is one of the benefits and the downfalls of having so much depth on offense, is that you don't have that the guy that
do you see someone who maybe could develop as that? We mentioned Brunel, the leading goal scorer.
Well, it could
Walker
be Wade
leads
today.
them in points.
Could be Wade today. It could be Braden. Carter Green we talk about as a guy that really there's no moment that's too big for him. And then that's not even to mention these role players and these emerging players like Riley Gerdai, who has been able to generate his own shot today. So again, I think this is a strength of their team, but who will score the next goal remains the question.
Well, another question is the Great Midwest Athletic Conference looks a lot different now because Mercyhurst has moved on. And so that was a game that was always circled on the calendar for both the Lakers and certainly for the Griffins. Mercyhurst defeating Seton Hill 12-9 up in Erie in the GMAC championship last year. They're gone from this conference. I would imagine it makes the non-conference more significant for Seton Hill because you're maybe not going to have that heavyweight opponent every single year in conference, and that's no knock on the conference and some of the new teams that have come in, Northwood and Davenport joining the likes of Thomas More, Wheeling, Tiffin, Malone, Walsh, Davis, and Elkins, and of course Lake Erie, who we talked about with their connection to the Indianapolis head coach. But I would imagine if you take away a powerhouse program like Mercyhurst from the conference, you want to make sure you get some really good non-conference opponents to maybe fill that void.
Absolutely. I mean, the reality of the situation is that Seton Hill will most likely be in the NCAA tournament. So how do you prepare yourself for those NCAA tournament games against teams like Tampa that you're definitely going to see, and you're going to see them very early in that NCAA tournament. So if you don't have that experience to lean back on, yeah, it could be that you have a bad quarter or a bad half and your season's over.
Well, the Greyhounds, they made the NCAA tournament last year. They fell in the first round at Limestone. They fell in their conference semifinals, a 13-9 loss at Lewis. Mentioned their conference really has some elite programs in it.
Yeah, that's the growth of the sport at the Division II level. There's so many good teams. I mean, Montevallo beating UIndy last week.
As we near 15 seconds remaining in the second quarter, Greyhounds will have to work with some urgency here.
It's a big stop by Seton Hill, maybe some extracurriculars, and that will bring an end to the half.
So a great start for the Griffins as the officials are legislating something, it seems, but that will do it for the first half of play. Seton Hill staked to a 6-3 lead in a nationally ranked matchup against the University of Indianapolis. We'll take a break and continue right here on the Westmoreland Sports Network.
Alzheimer's disease, believe it or not, kills more people than breast cancer and prostate cancer combined. Up until recently, healthcare options to treat Alzheimer's disease were quite limited. We had oral medications, but they were not known to change the underlying trajectory of the disease. Recently, new medications have been released. These medications are infusions that have actually been shown in studies to change the course of the disease itself. We are honored to be the first in our region to provide these medications to our patients. My uncle suffers from Alzheimer's. I have seen the tragedy of this disease, and I have seen its effect on my entire family. At Independence Health System, we are offering our patients and their families the latest in diagnostic techniques, the latest in drug therapies, and most importantly, we are offering them hope in the fight against Alzheimer's disease.
Are you ready to move forward? Seton Hill University has the degree programs, the resources, and the strong community you need to keep moving in the right direction. A leading Catholic university founded by the Sisters of Charity, Seton Hill has over 100 years of success educating students to be fit for the world. Our students and alumni are leaders, innovators, and change makers, all soaring forward at their own pace and in their own direction. At Seton Hill, you'll discover your best path forward with our more than 80 undergraduate degrees, online programs for busy adults, and over 20 graduate and doctoral programs in business and technology, education and applied social sciences, humanities, natural and health sciences, and visual and performing arts. Seton Hill University offers the personalized support you need to reach forward with confidence while benefiting from small comprehensive. Seton Hill graduates fast forward into careers or graduate schools within 1 year of graduation at rates well above the national average, receiving continued support with career services for life and a close-knit community of successful alumni. Seton Hill University prepares students to transform the world, creating forward-minded students who think and act critically, creatively, and ethically. We achieve more when we find ways to welcome, celebrate, and serve. together. Find your forward at Seton Hill University.
At Smale Kia, we know that winning takes hard work, dedication, and a commitment to excellence. By sponsoring Shining Stars, we'll select 2 teams each season to help fund their booster programs. Rewarding their hard work, athletic progress, and community service is an investment we're proud to make. Congrats to our Shining. Good luck. Super low lease payments or thousands off the top when you buy. This week at Smale Kia, Route 30 East Greensburg or SmaleKia.com.
Coming winter 2024, DBAT Pittsburgh East will be bringing the DBAT Sports family to Pittsburgh's East neighborhoods, featuring a 20,000 square foot state-of-the-art baseball and softball training facility with 4 dual Fungoman automatic pitching machines, 9 lesson cages featuring the best training tech in the game, including pro-size baseball and fast-pitch bullpens, elite speed, strength, and agility coaching, professional baseball and softball instruction, 50-plus camps, clinics, party room, and a pro shop powered by pro preferred brands Rawlings and Easton. Now offering Founders Club memberships. Learn more at dbatpiteast.com.
I feel like it's definitely very important, like for high school, because a lot of kids, get peer pressured into drinking and doing drugs. So like doing the events like in a school setting, I feel like definitely like try to prevent kids from like going to like parties and drinking and driving and doing drugs and being peer pressured.
We just want to, talk about the dangers of the substance abuse in our community, and we want to help be a part of stopping that.
It's halftime, and the Griffins have a 6-3 lead over the University of Indianapolis. Sean and Kevin here at Dick's Sporting Goods Field. Ricky Pitzer, our videographer, producer Dan Flickinger. I would imagine stake to a 3-goal lead. In one sense, the Griffins are happy, but how it played out maybe tells a little bit different of a story, because it was the Greyhounds who had the 2 most recent goals after they certainly looked like they were on the brink of having this game get away from them. They responded. There was one near goal for the Griffins, hit the post. We thought from the naked eye at first glance maybe it had gone in. The official right there said that was not the case. Then the Greyhounds come back and get a couple goals, maybe one of those slightly controversial as well. But it doesn't matter, because those goals are what they are, or the ones that were not are not going to change now. It's 6-3. So for Seton Hill, you could look at the positives and find plenty of them. But what will it take in the second half to make sure that they get this victory?
If you're Seton Hill, you just have to be confident that you are the better team on this day based on that first half. What you can't do is get too relaxed. I mean, Seton Hill, I think they outplayed UIndy in pretty much every category, maybe except for goaltending. The UIndy keeper had some nice saves. Most of the saves were high. So the challenge for Seton Hill is, can we not relax? Can we still bring that same intensity, that same energy that got us up 3 in the first half? And I think the first couple minutes of the third quarter are going to tell a lot of the story about which direction this momentum is headed in.
So looking at shots, the Griffins outshooting the Greyhounds 22-10. Of those, the shots on goal 12-6. So both teams slightly above 50% in that regard. There was one extra man opportunity. The Griffins took advantage of it. They're winning the ground balls 9-6. To your point, saves are 6-3 in favor of the Greyhounds. And I think after a woeful start for Prechuk, he kind of found himself as that half moved along. Clears pretty similar, 14-15 for the Griffins, 12-13 for Indy. Face-offs, I think, really were lopsided early, but got a little bit more even as the half went along. The Griffins have won 6 of the 10. Anything jump out from those statistics?
Yeah, I mean, the statistics kind of tell a story of the first half. I think
I got one more for you that might be by the Greyhounds, the Griffins committing 5 of them.
Well, there you go. If UIndy can clean things up, they might just have what it takes to keep this thing even. Now, of course, that's not going to be enough in the second half. They're down 3. I'm looking for Seton Hill's big guns to come out in the second half. I think the conversation starts with the sheriff, Wade, and he has been everywhere, whether it's that roll dodge to get the party started or his extra man goal. Wade Burnell, the sheriff for the.
Now, is this a
Seton Hill
Welty
Griffins.
nickname, or is this like an accepted by all people nickname?
You know, it just kind of seems like when you see him warming up and walking on the sidelines, he could be straight out of the Wild West. And so, you know, some people are calling him the sheriff.
You're giving him this golden marketing opportunity now in this day and age of NIL that he is. I want to see T-shirts. I want to see maybe stickers.
Wade the Sheriff Burnell.
So, keychains potentially.
So we'll see if he can kind of put that UND defense in jail. And then also we talked about it, is these supporting characters. Braden Locklear, Seton Hill's leading scorer, did not have a big half. So you got to be thinking that he's hungry for some points and some goals and assists. But Seton Hill's playing really unselfishly right now, and I think they need to be a little bit more selfish in the second half. Sean.
These teams are familiar with one another. This is the 8th meeting. Remember, the Greyhounds only began their program in 2016, so they've met just about every year. Last year was the 4th consecutive win for the Greyhounds as they scored a 10-9 victory. Last time Seton Hill won, you have to go back to 2018. We'll take a quick break, get you ready for third quarter action as we continue right here on the Westmoreland Sports Network.
I am the swiftest creature alive. I can make it. I will.
Collision Shop is your one things auto body repair. Our experienced technicians and state-of-the-art facilities have you covered. Body repairs, refinishing, glass replacement, and more. Our friendly office staff is happy to assist you through every step of your vehicle's repair process. Visit the collisionshopbyjason.com for our complete list of services.
The Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference celebrates the athletic and academic excellence of its student athletes. Last year, over 4,000 achieved at least a 3.25 GPA to earn recognition as a PSAC Scholar Athlete. Athletically, over 70 PSAC teams qualified for the NCAA championships. Champions on the field, champions in the classroom, making the PSAC proud.
For the Greyhounds, number 10.
Here we go, third quarter set to begin.
Griffins, number 35.
Seton Hill trying to improve to 4-1 on the season. This is a matchup of nationally ranked teams. Indianapolis dropping quite a bit after its most recent setback, as that's a good sign for Seton Hill and for their outstanding face-off man, Mark Strunk. He now twice an all-conference performer in the GMAC, and you can see why. He's been a special player for them this season on face-offs.
We talk about momentum as an intangible thing, but possession is a very tangible thing. And Mark Strunk has done a lot for Seton Hill to win that time of possession battle.
And I know you said he had a rough go of it against the Greyhounds in the meeting last year, and it feels like maybe that was the difference in the game because it came down to just a 1-goal margin in favor of Indianapolis.
Yeah, he was dealing with some injuries as well, as I understand. So things like that, they make you tougher. Motivation in the offseason to come back, play a big role in this game today. And I don't think we've finished hearing from Mr. Strunk.
Remember, Seton Hill got off to a great start when this game got underway. They scored 2 goals in about 2.5 minutes of play.
Yeah, the big big switch was UND switching to a zone, and then they started to get some goalie play, as you just saw the save.
But they throw it away. We saw that far too many times for the Greyhounds' liking in the first half, and third quarter begins with a similar result.
Got to clean up the turnovers.
Green could not get that shot through. Good defensive effort, and leading the charge there was Braden Arnett.
So Carter Green coming out shooting. To me, if I'm Coach Novotny, I'm absolutely screaming. A.J. Prechuk has made pretty much every save high that Seton Hill has thrown out at him, and he has let in every shot low. So I think Seton Hill needs to have some shot selection here. because Prechuk is pretty much unbeatable up high today.
The difference in size between the goaltenders is stark. Cody, 5'11", 170, and to be honest, you could tell me that those numbers are very generous, and I would believe you. And on the other side, Prechuk, 6'4", 216. As Seton Hill gets it back, coming up with that one is Colin Green.
So that's less than 2 minutes in here, and UND already with 2 turnovers. We talked about them cleaning it up.
Really, they're kind of on forced errors by and large, it feels like today.
It allows Seton Hill a little bit of cushion to not have to play at their best and to still be able to keep this game out of reach for UND. But there's really not much you can do if you're Greg Stocks. You can't yell at the players hard enough to make them stop turning the ball over. You just have to calm down and execute.
Griffin's trying to execute here. Pass broken up. Griffin's trying to keep it. Now a scrum, and Seton Hill comes out with it.
Oh, how about that ground ball by the Sheriff?
No reset of the shot. Brunel makes it work.
What a play.
He put the effort in to keep possession, and he pays it off. And the Griffins are up 7-3 as Brunel has the hat trick.
An absolutely unbelievable sequence of plays by the Sheriff Wade Brunel, starting with that magnificent ground ball, the fake that got our cameraman, and then he gives and goes. What a play, and that is exactly what Seton Hill needed. The assist from Locklear, heads up, and Wade Brunel does what he needs to do with a nice high bouncer.
26, Reddington.
And he's having a good day. We talked about Seton Hill needing that alpha dog on offense to emerge, and I think we kind of have an answer to that question.
Yes, Brunel has been special today.
You know, the thing really to take away from that is the grit required to come out of that scrum with the ground ball. Then the skill, the creativity to fake the defense got our cameraman. And
it's not easy to pull one on Ricky Pitzer either.
It's a feat. And then the team play to have the give and go with Locklear. Seton Hill needed that one.
Well, Brunel with the hattie. For a quick response, that time it's Pittsburgh's Tristan Schaefer firing it. Schaefer's been held under wraps for all of this day so far. Second team all-conference performer a year ago on a Greyhounds team that graduated a bevy of all-conference players.
Seton Hill going to be looking for the ward there, but UND going to get a penalty.
It's Justin Deanne who looks to be the guilty party.
Interesting play. I guess we're not calling ward. Arm was moved up.
He means business when that happens.
Yeah, you know he's upset when he takes his hat off. So either way, UND going to get a chance on the man up to respond to the Seton Hill tally. Let's see what their man down defense has.
Almost minutes, man up opportunity, cashing in. We'll see if the Greyhounds, who click at 40%, can make it work.
Yeah, and you know, kind of looking to Matt Perea, number 15 on UND. He's kind of been the party starter for UND, not afraid of contact today. Did a good job to draw the penalty, so let's see if he can also be on the business end of this man-up opportunity.
Griffins with a 61.5% PK. That's actually one of the lower marks amongst GMAC teams.
Could be a function of the competition they've been playing.
That shot sailed a little bit.
Has not been able to find his stroke today. And that's good news if you're a Seton Hill Griffins fan, but don't sleep on him. Shooters like that, they only really need one opportunity, hands-free, to make a difference in the game.
Rockley throws it behind the net. Bouncing around, and he loses it.
Dispossessed by the Seton Hill defense quite cleanly, and now moving up here, it'll be a ground ball.
Aiden Owens played takeaway, and the Griffins winning a 50-50 battle to keep it.
And it is getting boisterous here on the sidelines. The intensity mounting. You just feel like this next goal is going to be an important one.
Well, that was a big swing there potentially. Remember, it's a man-up situation. Griffins get it on the back door, and they sneak it home as Lockyer goes 5-hole. What a swing. The Griffins up 8-3.
Fortune favors the bold. Seton Hill missed connection, but don't worry. Your boys there, Braden Locklear, to clean up the trash. He says, thanks, I'll take that. Nice fake high, finishing low 5-hole. And that's the reason why he is Seton Hill's leading scorer, because he has that extra second in his mind, and he knows how to finish.
Maybe he was listening to your scouting report as well, right? Because did not try to roof that one.
Got the goalie moving.
Big
collision midfield. UIndy coming away with it, but you just feel the intensity ramping up here at Dick's Sporting Goods Field. Exactly what happened. But now both teams are at the level that we would have expected at the beginning of the game.
I was going to ask you, does that favor one team or another? Would it be better for a team that's down and maybe needing a spark?
Well, it depends on what happens. What you can't do if you're Seton Hill is get some penalties right now and go in the box and keep giving UIndy man-up opportunities. That is the surest way, the surest path for a team to come back into this game.
Speaking
of penalties, I say that, UIndy is going to have an opportunity here. They'll still have about 30 seconds on the clock, so you can't sleep on this even possession. But the ref here.
Yeah, we had just one call in the first half of play. And that's a nice save by Cody on the shot by Dalton Yates.
Somebody check Will Cody for a pulse. I mean, he's so calm and so collected in that save. It looked like he barely even
G-Mac. Also a first-team all-conference performer.
Dalton Yates on that shot is also a Pittsburgh guy. Doesn't say it on the chart here, but it's Upper St. Clair.
Yeah, they gave him the no hometown, the mystery man of sorts.
Freshman getting some playing time. Always good to see local Whitfield products playing at the next level. I think I'm going to stop saying ways for UIndy to get back in this game, because they seem to always be coming to fruition here, Sean.
Well, they did not take advantage of their man-up previous. They get another crack at it in short order.
They look tight in their execution and their exchanges.
Rockley quickly moves it. There's a low shot and a save.
Will Cody going to make that save most times.
That was number 5 making a save on number 5 as Lutweiler threw that one on the cage, but the Calgary, Alberta, Canada native sneaking past Cody.
Similar to his counterpart Success High, Will Cody has been impenetrable on these low shots. He's been seeing the ball very well today.
Looking back to his sideline for instructions, Connor Zostant will gladly slow things down as we're nearing 7 minutes left in the third.
Seton Hill releasing the penalty, and they'll get about 40 seconds of a possession here. Zostant
whips it up top, and Green will peel back. Carter Green surveying the scene. Former state championship winning quarterback at Penn Trafford.
Get yourself one of these.
Griffins try to get it in tight and broken up, and now it's loose and gobbled up by the goalkeeper Prechuck.
Kind of a force feed by Zostant. Green never really had a chance to make that play, but they're hustling, they're grinding on the on the ride.
And the Griffins take it away as they swarmed Davide. Low shot and a goal, and it's Brunel once again. Wade Brunel having himself a day to remember.
Wade Brunel, time, room, and you know the Sheriff doesn't miss from that close in. Seton Hill up. Like about the finish by Brunel is that he really just takes his time, eyes the goalie up, and again, we've been talking about success today for the Griffin shooters has come low. Where does he put that one, Sean? Low.
Davide has, now we're going to have one on the Greyhounds, it appears. Davide did a great job corralling what was not a great pass to him, but because he had to kind of break stride, that allowed the Griffins to swarm him, force the takeaway, and then they cashed in. And so the pass is just being a little bit off today for the Greyhounds. Seems to continually cost them.
Winning the chaotic moments in between the boxes, Seton Hill has really showed up, and they've had a team approach to it. Always scooping your ground ball and moving it quickly. The ball moves faster than your feet, as they say. Now we'll see if Seton Hill can venture into double digits.
And they will. It doesn't take long for Brunel to get another. He's got 5. He's accounted for half of the Griffins' 10 goals. They lead 10-3.
The lawman, Wade Brunel, has been absolutely everywhere, scoring in bunches today. You want time and room goals? He's a flash to the middle of the field, spinning, finish, and the placement on that shot is going to be hard for any goalie to save. So Brunel feeling it right now as the hot hand, and Wade, the Sheriff Brunel, is putting his stamp on this game as the Griffins now lead 10-3.
Carter Green getting the helper on the previous Brunel goal. The most recent one, Michael Coleman, gets the assist. And Seton Hill has possession once more.
So you feel that intensity has now dissipated. Seton Hill has broken this game wide open, 10-3. So now they'll just look to take some of these possessions deeper in the clock, keep building this lead, get some of the younger guys in if they can get a couple more goals. You can't.
There's another one, and it's the same guy. Brunel does it again.
And Wade Brunel cannot miss right now. You do not want to get into a shootout with the Sheriff because he does not miss. And I mean, what a spot feed by Braden Locklear. Could not have put that in a better position if he walked up and placed it in his stick.
It is unbelievable how quickly this has turned. Remember, heading into the third quarter, we had wondered, would the Greyhounds be the team that had the momentum? They finished the first half strong. Well, Seton Hill has responded. They have all 5 goals here in the third.
And we talked about the work of 35, Mark Strunk, in this run that Seton Hill has taken. He is nearly perfect at the faceoff dot. So Seton Hill kind of exposing UND's defense at this point.
There's Carter Green. And that will stay with Seton Hill.
And Braden Locklear is having kind of a maybe a little bit more low-profile game, but he has facilitated a lot of these goals as a feeder, and he's showing some of his range, his ability to have an impact on the game and let the game come to him.
He's got a goal and 2 assists in this quarter alone.
I think the thing about Seton Hill's offense that makes them quite dangerous is that these guys are multidimensional. They're not just shooters. They're not just feeders. A lot of the guys can impact the game in many different ways. Dodgers, shooters, feeders, and when you get that combination, it makes it really hard to game plan and to stop these guys.
A 6-3 halftime lead has swollen to an 11-3 third quarter advantage with 3.5 minutes left in it for Seton Hill. Griffins looking to tack on another, and that's not a good sign. That one fell one of the Greyhounds.
You hope that he's all right. Always a scary scenario when someone gets hit with a ball, that ball moving in excess of 80, 90 miles per hour.
9-0, bottom 5.
So
him grabbing his chest area, maybe shoulder area. And just hope that the padding, protective equipment that these players wear has done its job. It looks like he's up.
well, that's a good sign because that is Seamus Faulkner, and he's one of their best players. And he's trying to work through it right now. He was an honorable mention GLVC performer last season.
Yeah, just doing the dirty work for his team.
I feel like if you have the first name of Seamus, you're tough. Is that a fair assessment?
That's a fair assessment. He, doing the dirty work of his team, stepping in front of that ball. Speaking of Seamus, checking out hurling. You ever seen a hurling highlight?
I have not.
It's the national sport of Ireland.
Yeah.
It's really cool. If you've never seen hurling, very similar to lacrosse. Tough sport. These guys would be good at hurling. Takes a certain level of athleticism. Ireland's national sport. Maybe Seamus, some ancestors played hurling.
Well, down 8 goals. The time is now for Indianapolis, certainly. And they're coming off of a game which they were blanked in the fourth quarter. And it does feel like to some extent maybe that deflating loss has lingered today.
They're really searching for it here. And I think that they had a spark there at the end of the second quarter. You start to feel like, maybe they were just a little bit sleepwalking through the first half. But I think the matchup pressure that Seton Hill's been able to apply with guys like Wade Brunell, and not to discredit, the work of Will Cody. When Indianapolis has gotten any sort of daylight, Will Cody's just been there to be the darkness.
That was Ryan McCann who created the takeaway. And the Griffin, what a patient play by Lockyer. Fakes once, fakes twice, and cashes in to give the Griffins their 12th goal.
Braden Locklear is a cool customer with the ball in his stick, one-on-one with the goalie, and he's absolutely undressed the goalie here. Fake high, go low, made it look easy, but that is not easy to do, Sean, to be that calm and to find the net when especially you got a keeper that's filling up the cage as much as A.J. Priachuk.
Yeah, he's trying to find an answer right now. Saw him shaking his goalpost behind him. And the Griffins, it feels like this is a sport where things can really avalanche quickly because if a team like what Seton Hill's doing today continues to win faceoffs after scoring, you mentioned it before, it almost feels like it's a game of make it take it, right?
Make it take it, and it's just so hard for the opposing team to get any sort of momentum when you don't have possession. I think Seton Hill has certainly executed with the opportunities that they've gotten, but it's just been hard for UND to string 2 good plays together, 2 goals together with the way that Mark Strunk and company have been dominating today.
Johnny D'Agostino plays takeaway there.
And the thing that has stood out to me, we'll start with on the defensive end for Seton Hill, has just been the composure. There's been some ebbs and flows of this game, but you just never feel like they're making mental mistakes that you've seen UND make throughout the game. They're clean, they're composed, and I think on the offensive end as well, even though they went through some scoring droughts.
Well, the Griffins continue to win the 50-50 balls.
And Seton Hill right now looking a little bit more physical, just maybe a little bit bigger, a little bit step quicker.
They are going to give this one to Indianapolis on a push. Pereira dishes off.
Yeah, we talked about Pereira. I think if they're going to get anything positive going, he should be the one to start it. He's going to take the shorty behind here. Tristan Schaefer just really hasn't been able to get going. Call a moving pick there.
No, it has gone from bad to worse for a team that knows nothing but success in recent years. As that one, I don't know if ever made it on goal or not.
I think it was a bang-bang play in which Lockyer, almost had a goalie goal there. Will Cody had it all the way, right? I'm sure, but
what a cool state. Take on
Like a champion with Bowser Chevrolet of Monroeville. You're always on the winning team with Bowser Chevrolet. Visit BowserChevrolet.com 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and get the power of Bowser in your hands. Customize your payments, apply for financing, get a value for your trade and more with the Bowser Express Store. See the full lineup of Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs at BowserChevrolet.com. Bowser Chevrolet, where the power of Bowser is yours.
At Elliott Community Federal Credit Union, we're here to make your financial journey easier and more rewarding. With open membership to all that live, work, worship, or study in Westmoreland County, everyone can take advantage of our competitive loan rates, whether you're doing home improvements, buying a car, or making a personal purchase. Plus, enjoy free checking and online banking with remote deposits, so you can manage your money anytime, anywhere. Elliott Community Federal Credit Union. Make our house your financial home.
Some moments on the field go beyond the game. They shape who we become. At Home Team Collections, we honor those moments with the care and craftsmanship they deserve. Because these moments aren't just memories, they're a legacy worth preserving. Any team, any sport. Visit HomeTeamCollections.com today and save $10 off your first order.
We head to the fourth, and the Griffins look to be well on their way to a statement victory against a program that has won 4 in a row against Seton Hill, the University of Indianapolis. If the Griffins do win, it would even the all-time series at 4 apiece. Now, as the season moves along, it'll play out. We'll see. Maybe the Greyhounds are just having a down year, because this would drop them below 500 for a program that has not been below 500 over the course of a full season ever. The only time that they finished below 500, they went 2-3, as that's a great save there to start the fourth quarter by Prechuk. 2-3 during that COVID year, when they didn't even get into conference play. Every other year since this program has been in existence, they finished above 500. And in recent years, they've been winning 11, 12, 14 games. So maybe this is a slightly lesser Greyhounds team than some of the ones we've seen. But I think you could also say maybe this is even a better Seton Hill team than what we've seen last year. They went 11-6, but came up short against Mercyhurst in the GMAC championship.
I would say you're right on almost all accounts there, Sean, with your diagnosis of what's kind of happening here. I think certainly UIndy not playing to their potential. And any casual spectator could probably see that. But I also think that Seton Hill is an experienced group here. You know, they're not really bringing many new faces onto the scene. All these guys have experience in big games, big moments. Speaking of a guy that has experience in big moments, Will Cody making another fantastic save.
Yeah, it helps when you have a goalie of the year back in the fold. And that's exactly what Cody was in 2024, the goalkeeper of the year in the GMAC.
We've had a nice goalie duel today, but credit to the Seton Hill coaches who have clearly scouted and giving their shooters what they need to be successful. Seton Hill having a fantastic day shooting the ball, even against a good goalie performance.
So Brian Novotny gets a lot of credit, but you know very well his right-hand man, Chris Isles, doing a wonderful job.
And Chris was a fantastic goalie, phenomenal goalie. So he can really get in the minds of goalies. He can study weaknesses in opponents' goalies. It's a huge advantage for Seton Hill.
You ever wish that you still were roommates with him?
You know, our days of roommates, someone. Detail-oriented, very dedicated, and you know, just a guy that the players like to play for.
They've also had Jackson Hand the last couple of years as an assistant, volunteer assistant. Josh Miller, not far removed from his playing days with the Griffins.
And they you know, eventually a lot of these coaches, they'll move on to careers doing things other than coaching, and the foundation for a lot of the success that they'll experience will be the time that they've spent playing and coaching lacrosse.
On the other side, Austin Grimes, a longtime assistant for the Greyhounds, 9 years. And the program's one that began in 2016.
You have that kind of consistency. Seton Hill gets absolutely.
That's going to be a penalty.
Pulling down there. The other Sea Green getting his head taken off. Not to be confused with Sea Low Green.
No. Who was in Gnarls Barkley, I believe. Is that correct? It was him and Charles Barkley. They made up the group. Is that correct?
I think they see me riding around town with the girl I love. And is that Sea Low Green? And you know, Carter Green does shoot low a lot. So are we sensing maybe another nickname coming on here?
You have to get a cut of all the merch that you're helping to create. Oh! What a shot by Grudai, and the Peters Township product gives the Griffins a double-digit lead.
Grudai, bullseye, absolute wonderful take by the sophomore, burning his man, putting that thing off stick high as he's coming up the field, improving his angle, and he has really been feeling it today, finally getting one of those shots to drop, but he can create his own shot, maybe better than anybody on this Seton Hill team.
So
Grudai makes it 13-3.
Face off for the Greyhounds was number 31, Matt Jean. And then for the Griffins, number 10, Cullen.
This time the face-off will go to the Greyhounds.
At 11:03 in the fourth. Griffins goal scored by number 4.
So now at this point,
Grudai.
Coach Novotny up 10 with 10 minutes left. You see how long that bench is, Sean. He's going to start to get some of these younger, maybe some more inexperienced guys some playing time. Just because you don't start or maybe see the field as consistently as some of the guys that we've been talking about today doesn't mean that you put in any less effort throughout the week. So Coach Novotny, Coach Isles, they'll be looking to reward the effort of some of these guys.
Well, both teams, and I think that speaks to one of the ingredients for why they've both been very successful.
Yeah, I think depth is a huge part of it, and you know, just the ability to have an environment where it's competitive, you're pushing each other.
Yes, that
big
is a
high
big
hit
collision,
there,
and that's going to be a penalty on Seton Hill.
We'll have to watch. I believe that was Alex Callahan. We'll have to watch here for a non-releasable penalty because it looked like he was kind of floating up there into the head and neck area.
Well, the officials are having a discussion now.
Callahan 6'1", so you know he's a taller guy. And if you don't change your levels and the player maybe slips or falls down, looks like there's a cross check there.
1 minute cross check. And they did get Callahan for it.
Penalty on
Callahan,
Seton Hill.
first team
It'll be a 1-minute
all-conference
penalty
last
for
season. He's a big
cross-check.
part of what seeks and receives an explanation.
Yeah, it's
10-0
kind of clearly
fourth.
a play
Seton
where
Hill's made up.
you want to lead with your shoulder there. It's okay to be physical in the game of lacrosse, but there's been a renewed focus on protecting players, especially in the head and neck area. You see the evolution of some of these helmets now.
Now you love the black helmets.
I
at
think
Seton
the
Hills.
black helmets with the griffin head on them are pretty sharp. You know, we'd get new helmets maybe once every 4 years or 2 years. Seton Hill has a couple helmets.
Should have taken that up with Seton Hill's athletic director, maybe.
Well, you know, these are different. These are different times back then. We were kind of in the ramen noodle phase of our program.
That one rings off the post, and the rebound is cashed in.
So UND gets one back.
That's
on,
Pereira
on a man up. Now, you know, and I know the Seton Hill coaching staff, they'll be looking to improve even in these late game situations where they're up 10. That was still a man down goal that they've let up, so they'll be looking at that one in the film room later.
For a matchup when there's nationally ranked teams here, it's fair to say that the Griffins have this one locked up. But does the final score, even if it's a little misleading, prove to be consequential when it comes to rankings and things of that nature? Would you want to maybe be a little cautious with how quickly you empty the bench, if you will?
Sure. I mean, you know, those things matter in the margins.
You know, maybe final score as opposed to seeing the full context of how the game plays out.
Sure, and I think that's a thing that really Coach Novotny can only be the determinant of, you know, what's better for his team holistically, whether it's to get some of these guys like Wade Burnell, who at this point is playing like an All-American. Maybe get him some more stats, Braden Locklear, those guys, and you know, whether the final score plays into it or not, Seton Hill has certainly had a performance that's going to put a lot of teams on notice today. I mean, they're essentially beating UIndy by the same margin as they were Lake Erie.
Yes.
And that is not a result that you would really expect coming into this matchup, but Seton Hill's just been the better team today.
That fifth goal by Ryan Carver for the visitors, so they've got a couple in a row, Pereira and Carver back-to-back.
The other reason why this fourth quarter is important is because, you know, Seton Hill, they value this level of competition. So they're really not going to see too many more teams, even though they're making quick work of UIndy here. They're not going to see too many more teams that can play at this competition level.
Well, so here's the schedule forthcoming. We mentioned that the loss of Mercyhurst probably does have to change how the Griffins approach the scheduling a little bit, because they're not going to see that powerhouse program in the Lakers.
And on the assist, number 16, Brandon.
They return to conference play for their next game. Their next two actually are in the GMAC. They are 1-0 already in conference play with the win at Lake Erie. It was a 13-5 final, which, to your point, is the score right now. They will have Thomas More and Wheeling upcoming, and then Pace University in the midst of 4 consecutive here at home, and then at Davis and Elkins, at Lewis University.
Lewis is good. Lewis is now the number 8 team in the country.
And they compete in the same conference as the University of Indianapolis does.
Pace also going to be a good matchup for them, 3-0, number 6 in the country.
And then home against Malone, at Tiffin, at Northwood. Those are all conference games. Frostburg State is the final non-con.
And they have a good squad. They're top 20, even though they've gotten off to a little bit of a tough start.
Davenport and Walsh round out the regular season for the Griffins.
Before you get into semis and finals.
That's a strong shot, point blank by Carter Lee. The save is made, but the Griffins maintain possession.
And there's a play right on the sideline. Helmet contact.
And that was McCann who was on the receiving end of it.
You start to see some of these guys getting some time. That's a big play. McCann getting some love from his teammates on the sideline.
I don't know how he did it, by the way, but he somehow got the pass ahead as he was in a
think
pro
it was
position.
just one of those things where you're not thinking. You just let your athleticism take over. Have you ever kind of crumpled up a piece of paper and thrown it in the garbage and say, how did I make that? Same thing.
I've actually never made it in the garbage can.
No,
unfortunately, no. By the way, I don't know if you heard the news. That goal's obviously not going to count. There's going to be a new member for the GMAC lacrosse equation next year.
Tell me more.
Point Park will be joining the fold. Yes.
GMAC. Okay.
And I believe, if I'm correct, that would be the first year of their program's existence.
So Point Park has always been on the radar of any Pittsburgh lacrosse, kind of wondering, waiting. You know, they could be a local school. You know, you've got Chatham, which is, I believe, coached by Seton Hill alum. And so the equation of having a Pittsburgh rivalry, maybe this will help Seton Hill. Maybe it'll kind of replace Mercyhurst. I don't know.
Am I correct on that, Chris? Point Park joining next year for lacrosse would be their first ever season playing lacrosse? Yeah. So
former alum Cody Golan, who's had coaching stints at Washington and Jefferson, and he's really had a great coaching career. Will be man in the helm there. So you have some Seton Hill roots. Point Park.
So we'll see if the Pioneers can get up to speed in terms of competing. But we've seen examples, and Indianapolis is a heck of an example for teams that can pretty quickly become contenders.
And now with the transfer portal, things are changing a little bit more rapidly than they used to. Ooh,
that's a big hit.
Clear hit in the back there.
And flags out.
Again, this is where Coach Novotny, kind of a perfectionist, he'll
but you assume when you get into close games.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, the fact that this is not a close game, I think, is a little surprising to everyone.
Well, it's surprising, but I think what we've seen here is a Seton Hill, a team that really is not going to be a team that you would want to see in the NCAA tournament. I think they've really been riding on their specialists here. Will Cody having a fantastic game, and then Strunk at the faceoff dot, just giving them possession after possession.
I would think I'm not the only one who has this mindset. You naturally think conference games are most important, right? This year for Seton Hill,
I mean, this result is going to be enough to sustain through some of those conference games that will be.
You really can't help yourself in terms of the national rankings much if you're Seton Hill beating up on the teams at the bottom of your conference.
Exactly. And then it also, you want to be locked in mentally, but it's just natural to have a little bit of team on halftime.
And it is interesting, the team that they defeated already in conference play this year, the lid lifter, was against Lake Erie. That's the other team that made the postseason last year. Remember, it was Seton Hill and Mercyhurst in the championship.
Right.
Lake Erie was in the semi. So you've already won decisively against what maybe would be your biggest competitor potentially. We'll see how it plays out, but at least based in history, I think Lake Erie usually was that number 3 team in the GMAC.
Yep. Yeah, so you have a decisive win, but really the goal of the team is clear. It's success in May and to end up playing in Memorial Day weekend. Something that Coach Novotny has always had as a standard or as a aspiration for this team, but not since some of the teams recently that have made runs in the NCAA tournament have I seen a Seton Hill team that is as poised as this, as deep as this, and built to kind of make that late season run. So they'll be eyeing that as a purpose, a mission in every game, in every practice.
Griffins are going to show some patience here. Why not? With Brunel just shedding a defender. My goodness, as he is having a day for the A's.
And I think he just cemented this as the best game of his career. I don't know if it's a career high in terms of goal output, but that's definitely a career high in terms of shrugging a defender off of you and then absolutely canning a shot low. They don't call him the sheriff for nothing.
They're going to start calling him Derrick Henry if he does that more often.
I mean, the weight, that's a good chance to call out Seton Hill's strength and conditioning program, taken very seriously. And, you can see the results from the weight room there. Wade Brunel.
Is that Tyler Zimmer, by the way? Is he?
Yeah, Tyler Zimmer.
Yes.
He's been with the team for a while, and he's got to love that when he sees the results translate into on-field performance.
Did a feature on Tyler Zimmer for Westmoreland, Where Are They Now, a few years back, talking about obviously everything that he does, helping young athletes, the career that he had here at Seton Hill. He's a guy that has impacted many people's careers as that shot sails wide.
And that's a big part of coming to Seton Hill. Smaller school, opportunity to be a part of a community.
A lot of people seem to stick around well beyond their playing days, right?
Sure. I mean, it's just a way to stay involved as an alumni. I actually participate in an alumni mentoring program. You really do. You make those connections to the point where when you walk up to the parents in the tailgate before the game, they welcome you with open arms. They don't need to know what year you graduated. So it really is. It's a great community. As you see some of the UIndy coaches sort of yawning, maybe starting to think about
both these teams are
warming up the buses.
They're not shying away from physicality, despite the fact that the outcome's been long decided.
Well, I think that maybe UIndy is taking out a little frustration at this point. What you hope is that
at this point,
what you hope is that you just get out of here without any nicks and bruises that are too significant.
Chance.
Will be how rebound from a couple of really hard losses.
Rung off the post. And Cody has the save on the follow-up.
And Will Cody really has had the UIndy shooters' numbers, but the shots that they're generating, you'd think that they would maybe shoot high a little bit.
Cody's played all but 15 minutes so far this season. This is the 5th game of the campaign for the Griffs.
Under 2 minutes, Coach Novotny will look to take some of the air out of the ball. Looks like he's still running his main guys, but starting to get some guys like Gavin Erickson a little bit of time.
I go back to, I don't think that, especially after we saw Indy score a couple goals about a minute apart, you don't want to completely empty the benches, knowing that the likelihood is you will win decisively several times in conference play. You can get some reps for some of those players in a game like that.
It's got to be part of the calculus for sure.
Well, there's a goal by Granberg as he absolutely it. And
Caden just showing you some of the tools in his bag. On the run, uses a little screen from the UIndy defender, but he absolutely pipes that one. And that is going to be the icing on the cookie for Seton Hill today, going up 10 with 1:20 left.
That one was a screamer.
Granberg able to generate a lot of velocity.
35 strong.
What's if you're a player who's trying to increase the velo, what's the best way to do it?
It's all in the wrists.
It's
all in the wrists.
Number 66.
And I think it's true. You see some of these hockey players translating into lacrosse, and they just have that snap. The end of their wrists. Canadians are really good with the wrists.
Coach Novotny's son, by the way, a hockey player, but interestingly enough, he was a goalie in hockey.
Yeah, very interesting. Granberg, he's definitely from that mold. Victoria, British Columbia. I'm sure he's played some hockey in his life. Almost bet on it.
And the Griffins can run this one out.
Yep, you see the sideline. This means a lot to them. Coach Isles getting fired up.
He's the most fired up of anyone right now.
Coach Novotny will be silently happy with the result. But this is about as good as it gets if you are a Seton Hill Griffins lacrosse fan.
Well, you see a day like this and you think the potential is almost unlimited for what this season could be.
Yeah, and and this makes the alumni proud. Shout out to all the alumni in the YouTube comments. This is what they came here to build, and this is another step in Seton Hill's season, but also with their program.
A statement victory today for the Griffins. A no-doubter. 15-5, they knock off the University of Indianapolis, the first time that they have defeated the Greyhounds since 2018. We'll take a break, come back with the post game. Don't go anywhere. Plenty more to come. 15-5, Seton Hill wins it going away against Indianapolis. Here, more.
I am a major with a publications and integrated marketing communication concentration. I never thought I'd be going to college so close to home, but Seton Hill felt like home to me. I'm constantly seeing all these friendly faces, these friendly professors that know me by name and that know my likes, my dislikes, and what I'm up to in my daily life. Communications field is very broad and very competitive, but I feel that Seton Hill has prepared me to move forward into any career that I want to get into. My recent internship has been with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and also I have a job with the Pittsburgh Steelers, which some staff here at Seton Hill University actually helped me attain. Seton Hill might be a small school, but that does not mean it has small opportunities. Big opportunities are always there for you to get, and the faculty here is always willing to help you with that, and they're going to support you no matter what. Seton Hill University is preparing me to move forward.
Get to Mike Hamlin Hyundai for great President's Day savings all month long. Try the new 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe or Tucson SE, both available with financing as low as 1.99%. All vehicles are backed by the Mike Hamlin Advantage. Oil changes for life.
Whether you're just stopping in for a drink at the bar or having lunch or dinner, give one of D'Annunzio's seasonal drink specials a try. Our refreshing house-made sangria comes in 3 flavors: red, white, and peach. We have local craft beers on tap as well. Plus, D'Annunzio's offers our very own private label wine. We have Chardonnay, White Zinfandel, Pinot Grigio, Moscato, Cabernet, Merlot, Pinot Noir, and Champagne at D'Annunzio's.
The Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference celebrates the athletic and academic excellence of its student athletes. Last year, over 4,000 achieved at least a 3.25 GPA to earn recognition as a PSAC Scholar Athlete. Athletically, over 70 PSAC teams qualified for the NCAA championships. Champions on the field, champions in the classroom, making the PSAC proud.
The Collision Shop by Jason Mignone is your one-stop shop for all things auto body repair. Our experienced technicians and state-of-the-art facilities have you covered on both passenger and heavy-duty vehicle repairs, including scratches, scrapes, and dents, free estimates, body repairs, welding, refinishing, glass replacement, and more. Our all-new alignment and calibration shop has the tooling, equipment, and staffing to ensure top-quality alignment and calibration adjustments for your vehicle. Our friendly office staff is more than happy to assist you through every step of your vehicle's repair process. Visit the Collision Shop by Jason for our complete list of services.
Is your locally owned and operated sporting goods store. We set ourselves apart by offering a wide variety of both new and used equipment at competitive prices. Located in the Greengate East Plaza, below Walmart. Play It Again Sports' knowledgeable staff will help you and your family prepare. We are here as your one-stop shop. At Play It Again Sports in Greensburg, everybody plays.
Hey, Westmoreland Sports Network fans. This is local State Farm agent and proud Seton Hill alumni Alex Hetrick. As a former high school and college athlete, I know the importance of youth sports and the funding needed to make it all happen. Reach out to my office after the game to get your free quote started, and be sure to mention your favorite team so I can make a donation to their athletic department. All you need to do is head to insurewestmoreland.com or text 724-575-7392, requesting your free quote, and we'll reach out to you with your customized policies. Thanks, and enjoy the game.
Along the arc of a woman's life, there are many passages. Growing up, chasing dreams, building a career, embracing wisdom born of experience. There are times that make good health and well-being so vital. We provide care that helps women thrive at any age, at any stage. Independence Health System. Expert care here.
Some moments on the field go beyond. They shape who we become. Craftsmen. These just worth preserving. Any team, any sport, any logo. Visit HomeTeamCollections.com today and save $10 off your first order.
The Griffins with an impressive victory, 15-5 today against the University of Indianapolis. Sean Myers, Kevin Welty here at Dick's Sporting Goods Field. We're going to be joined momentarily by Brian Novotny and hopefully the man of the hour, or the man of the day, maybe even the whole weekend at this rate, Wade Brunell, who puts in 7 goals to go with 2 assists, a 9-point effort. Just another day on the job, I would imagine, for him. But it certainly feels like he and the Griffins collectively established themselves as a real powerhouse program. We knew that going in, but this was a litmus test, and they passed it with flying colors.
You look in the mirror in the morning and you know what you're capable of, but it's a different thing to be able to come out here and show the world what you're capable of. And I think this Seton Hill team did that today. All phases of the game, Sean, dominated. I mean, it was the offense, the way that they were moving the ball, scoring in a variety of ways. How about this defensive effort? Shutting down this UIndy team who had a lot of good shooters, a lot of good players. To hold them to 5 goals, I mean, it was an incredible team effort. The coaching was on point, face-offs, goaltending. You just have to be happy if you're Brian Novotny.
It never felt like it made 3, but third quarter play extinguished any thought of a potential comeback. But also how this game started. Seton Hill jumped out to a 4-0 lead. I think that really set the tone for the match that was to follow.
You know, maybe that Tampa game where Tampa was able to jump on Seton Hill wasn't so far from their memories, and the message I would imagine this week was we need to get out to a hot start. They did that, and they did that in many ways. Coming out of the halftime break as well, you just felt the intensity change. And it was 7-3, and we thought maybe the in that third quarter.
Well, on the other side, Indianapolis is a program that has done a lot of winning since they became a program in 2016. And I would not count them out for this season, but today they certainly looked like a team that has a lot of strides to still take to get to where they want to get.
Yeah, they weren't their best selves today, and I think that's hard when you run into a team like Seton Hill that maybe is playing to their potential. It's sort of a formula for exactly what we saw today, where they just could not get any momentum, could not get anything started. And I think it was really two guys on the Seton Hill roster that stopped them from stringing together any sort of momentum, which is Mark Strunk and Will Cody.
It is a little bit different on the Greyhound side of things because we talk about Seton Hill and a bigger conference. There's 10 teams in it this year. And of those 9 conference matchups, maybe they get truly tested once or twice. So they can't really bolster their resume that much. Well, on the other side, the Greyhounds certainly can. They have a smaller conference, just 6 teams in it. They were picked 4th out of the 6 teams, but if they knock off some of those teams in front of them and they have not open conference play yet, they can certainly very quickly get back in the mix. And again, they were a nationally ranked team coming into it today. I would imagine that could potentially change when the next rankings come. They'll have plenty of opportunities ahead of them to get statement wins in their own right.
Yeah, and if you're Seton Hill, you now switch to rooting for UIndy. You had a massive victory, a 10-goal victory over them. You want them to improve. You want them to beat some ranked teams, get win actually looks better than maybe a win against a sub-500 team.
Brian Novotny still talking to his crew down there on the field, as you can see. Other than the prolific Wade Brunell, other than his robust effort that yielded 9 points today, and we're going to be talking to him momentarily, who else did you think really impressed you today for the Griffins?
I think it's Braden Locklear. We talked about it. He's not this dominant force in the game. He lets the game come to him. He had some really nice assists, some beautiful finishes that just showed his composure. I thought Carter Green also did a really good job of taking some shots and not forcing it. But then on the defensive end, it's hard to pick one of those polls that stands out. I thought Alex Callahan had a really good game.
Group effort in that regard.
Yeah, they just look like a unit. So, I think I see Coach Novotny coming up here.
Yep, so you could back up. We'll put you right here, and then we'll leave a little space in between to sneak in whomever wants to do this first.
Yeah, what do we do? I switch here, maybe?
We'll figure it out. We'll just move them in between. I can get that down.
Here, yeah.
What's up?
All right, so who wants to jump in first?
What's up, Wade? Kevin, nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
All right, so we're going to talk to a guy who just put up 9 points today, 7 goals for Wade Brunell. Let's talk about your performance today. What worked so well for you offensively?
I think a lot of just moving off ball, pushing transition, because they got into a zone starting in the second quarter and kind of started to give us some issues. So we just started pushing quicker and moving the ball well, and it seemed to work.
Have you ever had a day like this at the college level offensively?
No, not really. I don't think so.
Well, as it was unfolding, did you get that sense that you were locked in, that you were potentially going to do something pretty special today?
Not really. Just kind of staying consistent throughout the whole game. We talked about playing good through all 4 quarters. So I just got to do what I do. Throughout all 4 quarters.
Wade, you referenced it in that last goal. When you shrugged that guy off, that was awesome. But how much of the preparation leading in the off season is what led to kind of performances like this for the team today?
That's kind of one of the main points. All throughout the fall, we've been really just focusing in on the weight room, getting bigger, getting faster, just dominating our opponent on all levels of the field, and that's kind of what it came down to today.
And now we have to get your comment on the nickname that people are talking around, Wade the Sheriff Brunell. How do you feel about that one?
I never heard that one before, but hey.
He'll take it. So yeah. we got to thank the Sheriff for joining us on a 9-point day, man. Go enjoy it with the teammates. Enjoy it and keep grinding here.
Yeah, thank you.
Good stuff, Wade. We appreciate it. We'll now welcome in the head man, Coach Novotny. Well, he did not score 7 goals. He did not account for 9 points today, but he gets a lot of credit as well because it looked as though your team was locked in from the start. You jumped out to a 4-0 lead. And we mentioned we expected they would make a big run. It never really happened. I think that's more testament to your team. So how did you really grasp control and keep it the whole way?
Yeah, I think, we've talked to the guys a lot throughout the course of this year about just being, very confident in our preparation, very confident in our ability, and not trying to do more than what we do day in and day out. So we had a good week of prep. It was a short week of prep with our game on Wednesday, but it was a good week of prep. And then the guys just came out, man. Unlock that today.
Does it mean a little bit more because that's a team that had your number recently? I think they had 4 straight victories. It was since 2018 that the last time you defeated them.
Yeah, it absolutely meant more to me. We had the leadership guys in the office the other day, and I was saying that, this team had not lost 4 straight to UIndy. Those were other teams that had lost. I think I heard Coach Tomlin say, that's not their baggage, that's my baggage, right? Mm-hmm. It does mean a lot, though. I think we had lost 3 by a goal in that stretch. And to be able to come out here against a really quality opponent, against a very well-coached team, I think it gives our guys a lot of confidence moving forward.
Coach, what do you think you're most proud of in this performance? I mean, a lot went right for you, but when you think about the thing that you're going to hang your hat on,
in the second quarter, they went to that zone look, and we were getting some good looks. We hit some pipes. Their goalie made a few saves. But I think for us, just we stayed calm and we stayed composed through that little plateau, that little lull. And then obviously we were able to really break out of it and start to roll again. So I think that's probably what I'm most proud of, is just how we managed that little slowdown for us, right? And we kept our spirits high. We kept our engagement level really high. Defense was doing a great job playing some lockdown D, and the offense kept working to find solutions.
Yeah, absolutely. Good call out on the defense. I think also in between the boxes, the little things, the confidence that you're seeing on the exchanges, the composure. Is this group more seasoned, more experienced? You feel that they're really coming into that level of execution?
Yeah, we've got a pretty veteran group all over the field, right? Everybody that's playing for us, for the most part, saw significant time in previous years. So there's not much that they haven't seen or haven't experienced or haven't been through, right? Whether it's level of competition or certain situations. And I thought that they did a great job today. But very veteran, very confident. We've been working a lot on those things throughout the course of this year, and it's great to see them start to come together.
Final thing for you, Coach. We mentioned that with Mercyhurst leaving the conference, you might not be tested a ton in the GMAC. Does it make a day like this and some of these litmus tests in the non-conference even more significant?
Yeah, great question, Sean. It makes them vital for us. We had this conversation just after the Tampa game. We can't rely on our schedule to push us week in and week out. We have to rely on each other day in and day out to really do that. So we don't want to rely on other people to push us. But Indy's certainly one of those litmus tests for us. They again, great program, great team, consistently very good. It makes days like today vital.
Well, certainly you passed today's test with flying colors. Brian, go enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
That's Brian Novotny, the head coach for Seton Hill, as his team captures a victory. Final score in this one, 15-5. We'll put a bow on this broadcast. I want to thank Brian Novotny as well as Wade Brunel for coming up to join us. For our great videographer, Ricky Pitzer, for producer extraordinaire Dan Flickinger, for my colleague Kevin Welty, Sean Myers signing off. Seton Hill wins this one in a nationally ranked battle against the University of Indianapolis.